The Millennium, a prophetic forecast by Johanna Brandt. Part 3, The Future. Chapter 20, The Appeal to South Africa. Now is my soul troubled, and what shall I say? Father, save me from this hour. But for this cause came I unto this hour. Father, glorify thy name. John 12, verse 27 to 28. This, then, is the cry, O South Africa, which I would sound from border to border of our vast subcontinent. Sink your racial animosities. Bury your political differences. Put aside your personal grievances and join hands. Every one of you, men, women, and children of every race and class and creed, join hands and present an undivided front to the approaching enemy. Our ranks are torn by dissensions, our lines are broken by long-fostered hostilities, our numbers scattered by the breath of criminal defamation. And overhead the black clouds of adversity are gathering. If you will but cease from your petty strife, you will hear the angry mutterings of the approaching storm and feel its icy breath on your brow. South Africa, your sunny sky is overcast by day. By night your starry dome is veiled in ominous obscurity. And you can save yourself. The fast approaching blast can be tempered by your own exertions. The sweeping hurricane can be diverted from its devastating course by the supreme effort of your mind and will. South Africans, beware! Take heed! When he comes, he must not find you slumbering. In the darkness which precedes the dawn, who of us can be sure of being safe? There is but our test, and that is the test of righteous living. But one path, the path of righteousness. Have you thought of it, O devout Christian, whose seat of worship in the sacred edifice is never vacant, that it is quite possible that there will be no room for you in heaven? Has it never occurred to you who cry, Lord, Lord, in season and out of season, that your voice may not be heard in the heavenly choir? And you, O philanthropist, with your hand ever in your pocket in the ostentatious distribution of alms, have you ever thought of the possibility of being overlooked yourself in the distribution of the bounties of heaven? And you, O long-faced hypocrite, who would not dream of desecrating the Sabbath by music and happy laughter, has your hand never been raised treacherously in destruction of your fellow man? And you, who call a pack of cards the devil's playthings, have you never played with lust? Have you never drained the lifeblood of the unprotected? Has your neighbor's reputation always been quite safe with you? Has there been no venom on your honeyed tongue? There is still a little time to search your heart, an hour's grace to probe the secret workings of your mind. And if you will but raise your earthbound eyes, you will find the darkness gathering thick and close, in which there will be no more opportunity for self-analysis. There is no more time to lose. The millennium is upon us. The millennium, call it 1,000 years, or 1,000 million years of peace on earth. The length of time matters not. Where will you spend it? Revelation 20 verse 5. Revelation 20 verse 4. Will you languish in Hades with the evil ones, returning not to earth again until Satan is released from bondage? Or will you live and reign with Christ on earth 1,000 years, 1,000 million years? when the furious blast strikes South Africa, where will you hide your head? Remember that it will be too late then to prepare a place of refuge. Your building operations must begin at once if you would be ready for the storm. And see to it that you choose the right materials: love and mercy, truth and justice, single-mindedness. If you would not drink the bitter cup of tribulation, set your feet upon the eternal rock before it is too late. For retribution is upon us, swift and sure, which will reward each one of us according to our works, not to our words, according to our secret thoughts, not to outward sanctimoniousness. We may deceive our fellow creatures, we cannot deceive the Master when He comes. The devastating storm will be a mighty cleanser, for it will strip the soul of all its hypocrisies and lay bare the hideous cancer which is consuming our religious, social and political life, the cancer of trustworthiness. There will be no mercy for the lying hypocrite. The lying hypocrite, understand me well, I do not speak of the unbeliever who has been an unbeliever through sincere conviction and whose life has been unstained by double-dealing and treachery, nor of the despised drunkard who has struggled in vain to free himself of the demon's grip, nor the man of fierce and overwhelming passions who has fought and failed 1,000 times, nor the countless weaklings of our race who rise and fall and rise again and stumble on, despairing of their weakness. No, these are known to Him, and in His strength their weakness will be perfected in that great day, whose dawn is heralded by a night of storm. But it is the lying hypocrite of whom I speak, who bears false witness to the undoing of his neighbor, who promotes his own welfare at his brother's expense, and whose iniquities are securely hidden under the cloak of Christianity. There will be no mercy for him. In this war between light and darkness, which is fast spreading over the entire globe, human agencies are employed on both sides. On whose side are you? And there is no such thing as compulsion on either side. The agencies are willing. On this point we may be quite satisfied. Now, in connection with this matter, there is another point on which we need have no manner of doubt, and it is this: each man may knows for himself beyond question, on which side he, as a free agent, has ranged himself. His friends may be uncertain as to his position, but he cannot and does not deceive himself. Neither will he deceive the coming judge. It has been revealed to me that even at this 11th hour, many eyes will be opened, and many erring footsteps will be brought back to the path of righteousness. And I plead with you, my brethren, solemnly and passionately, to desert the ranks of the powers of darkness now. Come over to the light before it is too late. Join hands with those who strive in this fearful contest to overthrow the last enemy. Unite your forces with theirs in the final struggle, and to hasten the desired end. Perhaps you have not thought the matter over seriously enough. Maybe the truth has never been brought home to you with sufficient emphasis, and no doubt your indifference is due to long-established custom. Cast it off. Wake from that sleep that ends in death. Come over to the safe side. Once more I say, come over to the light before it is too late. This may be your last chance. The King of Kings is long-suffering, marvelously patient, but he does not break his own laws. Not even divine compassion will cause him to violate the laws of eternal justice, and by the law that is sacred and inscrutable, that vast mystery of the universe, predestination, combined with free will. He cannot force you on the path of salvation. He can bring the truth to you. He can and does give you an example through His divine sacrifice. But its acceptance or rejection must ever rest with you. You hold your future destiny in your own hands. And you must choose today. When by and by the furnace opens in South Africa, it will be the end of the world for many of us. You and I will be expected to pass through it. There is no other way. And how shall we endure the white heat of that culminating ordeal of our lives? See, the hand of mercy is extended to you at this late hour. Will you not take it now? Its grasp alone can bear you through. The reaching out to clasp that saving hand is an act of blind faith on your part, a willing and voluntary leap into the dark. And I do not wish to underrate its initial difficulties by presenting it to you as an achievement easy to obtain. On the contrary, I would have you understand that no subsequent effort on your part can ever be surrounded with such obstacles and difficulties as that first act of blind faith. The reason for this is easy to understand. The God who asks this simple trust of you has given you an intellect, reasoning faculties, and these faculties come into violent conflict with each effort to establish such an act of faith. They are in direct opposition to that unreasoning attribute which men call faith, that blind acceptance of the unseen, the unheard, the unknown, and they are infinitely higher than blind faith. That is why faith must come first. Blind faith is a limited and imperfect thing, the ABC of the life divine, but it is as necessary, as indispensable in that life as grade 1 is in the education of your child. You may try to hasten your child's progress by putting him into the higher grades at once, but you will only retard his development indefinitely, and in the end, he will have to go to grade 1 to learn his ABC. Or what is more difficult still, he will remain where he is and try to master the ABC in the unsuitable and too highly advanced environment of the higher grades. So faith is the first step in the life of godliness, but it is not the last. The second is experience. The third is knowledge. Faith is the beginning, not the end of the life of spiritual advancement. When he has mastered the ABC, your child does not remain in grade 1. So the believer does not always believe. He knows, and he knows through experience. The transition from blind faith to knowledge is so gradual that the believer generally does not know that he knows, until some great shock or supreme test suddenly brings the realization home to him that faith has become vision, and that vision, knowledge, is indestructible. This then is the secret of his strength. You cannot rob a man of his knowledge, which has become his through personal experience. You will find yourself powerless in your efforts to destroy that priceless possession. You may destroy the man himself, but his knowledge you can never reach. It is immortal. It is hidden in God. It manifests itself in 1,000 ways, and wherever it is found, the onslaughts of the powers of darkness are redoubled through human and other agencies. It becomes the center point of attack, for it is the secret of divine fortitude. It is mysticism, harmony. It must be destroyed, or in the end, it will destroy the powers of darkness. It was this scientific knowledge of divine truths, this unassailable possession, which enabled the Christian martyrs to face death under torture with serenity and fortitude. It was not faith. They had reached beyond that stage. They knew, they had seen and heard. Flames and the rack could not deprive them of it. Devouring beasts and human fiends could not tear it from them. And it is the same knowledge which has caused the moral hero in all ages to sacrifice every earthly consideration in the pursuit of an ideal, and to endure mockery and scorn, and the tortures of being misrepresented and misunderstood, without flinching. He knows that on his side are ranged the mighty forces of divine harmony. John 20 verse 29. But because faith in its first stages is incomplete, it is nonetheless beautiful. So beautiful is it, indeed, that the divine, blessed are they, has been pronounced over its disciples. The Christ came first to teach us faith. When he comes again, he will bring us knowledge. Let this truth sink deep into your minds. The Christ who said, "Blessed are they that have not seen, and yet have believed," did nowhere exclude knowledge from his teachings. There were the mysteries for those who had advanced beyond the school of faith. There are the mysteries today. The life of the Christ on earth was not the life of faith. He had scientific knowledge of the laws of nature. Otherwise, he could not have performed his miracles. He taught us faith because it was our first necessary lesson, but he himself lived in knowledge. And he is coming back in fulfillment of his promise to bring divine knowledge to those of us who have learnt our lesson of faith. Even as we, in our day, are witnessing the transition from the age of violence to the age of love, so shall we see the entrance of humanity to a new phase of scientific understanding in the spiritual life after the preparatory stage of faith. O man of intellect, drink in the meaning of these words. That blind faith which seems beset with such insurmountable obstacles to your divinely implanted reasoning faculties is not the end and goal of the spiritual life. It is only the first step, and however long you may have hesitated about taking it, I implore you to hesitate no longer. Strain your every faculty to grasp its truth. Your time is short, but do not despair if you do not succeed. For if your efforts have been sincere, the Master's coming holds a glorious promise for you. Your eyes will be opened in the first living contact with him. He is coming for that very purpose, to bring you to the light. Only remember that he can do nothing for you unless you wish it. The desire must be there first. I would divide the adherents of the Christian church into three great classes. 1. The unbelievers. 2. The believers. And 3. The knowers. With the unbelievers, I have dealt in the first part of this chapter. They are Satan's agents in our own ranks, without whose assistance he could accomplish very little. There have never been as many of them in our ranks as there are today, and they have never been more dangerous than in the part they are playing in the tragic world drama of our time. They are the wolves among our sheep. They came not but to steal, and to kill, and to destroy. John 10, verse 1. They entered not by the door into the sheepfold, but climbed up some oilier way. They are the thieves and robbers who would deceive the very elect at this critical time. It is difficult indeed to recognize and track them. in their sheep's clothes, and we only know that they are there by the secret undercurrent which undermines our most ennobling influences. They break down as fast as we build up. In the name of Jesus Christ our Lord, to the superficial eye, they appear to be the most zealous of workers in the Master's vineyard, and their influence over those who do not think for themselves is unbounded. During the past years, I have witnessed altogether incredible things in the Church of Christ, accomplished through their agency, in societies and organizations, in every department of life, social, political, and religious. They worm themselves into responsible positions with diabolical cunning and become the leaders of the unblinking multitude. To the close observer, there can be nothing more incomprehensible than their achievements. He sees the triumph of their carefully thought out schemes. He witnesses their success time after time and sees the righteous ones checkmated on all sides. We are dealing with South Africa, but we have every reason to believe that these conditions prevail in every part of the world. It is the spirit of the times. The powers of darkness conduct their war against light under the cloak of religion and with the last weapon of iniquity, treachery. It is their last hope, and at the present moment it seems as if it would succeed, because so many believers refuse to think for themselves. Comfortably and blindly they follow these brazen-faced, pushful, scheming agents of perdition. Whither? To perdition if they do not rouse themselves in time. Unconsciously they are imbibing the spirits of their leaders, the contaminating atmosphere of these unbelievers in the Christian church. The second class, the believers, is the true followers of the Christ, whose feet have been securely placed on the path of faith. They believe, they trust, they strive sincerely to live the righteous life. They are incapable of deceit and treachery, but they lack the saving power of knowledge. They are only in the first stages of the life of faith. They have only just entered on the way of experience, which leads to knowledge. It is easy to deceive them, and among their ranks, the evil ones search the most eagerly for instruments through whom to accomplish their infernal purposes. And, alas, through ignorance, these little ones lend themselves most readily to their seemingly fair designs. Matthew 18, verse 3 to 10, Matthew 10, verse 16, and Matthew 18, verse 6. These have become as little children, whose angels do always behold the face of our Father, which is in heaven, and they are harmless as doves, but not yet wise as serpents. It was of these that the Christ said, "But whoso shall offend one of these little ones, which believe in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck, and that he were drowned in the depth of the sea." Note, parts of the writer's handwriting could not be read in the following. These two classes form the bulk of present Christianity. The unbelievers, who for the purpose of annihilation have entered the believers, who have entered the life of unknown, and whose unknown are set on the path of experience. Of the third class, the knowers, little can be said. These numbers are comparatively few. They cannot be understood by the majority. Through experience, faith has brought them to the realm of vision, which none may enter except by the path of experience. Note, parts of the writer's handwriting could not be read in the following. Their life is hidden in God, and through Him they serve their unknown, bringing to them with prodigal hand their gifts of faith, experience, and knowledge. For by what seems at first sight a strange paradox, the faith which through experience has become knowledge, through knowledge becomes faith again, the sublime faith of the initiate in the mysteries yet to be revealed. We may know, each one of us, to which of these three classes in the Christian church we belong. We may know what our role has been in the past. And we may make our choice deliberately and of our own free will of the part to be played by us in the future. For this purpose, we must withdraw a while into the only real world, the world of thought. It is the sanctuary in which we hear the still, small voice. It knows no night, for the searchlight of truth shines there forevermore. Its atmosphere is love. The swellings of its harmonies rise and fall on the bosom of eternal peace. Truth and love and peace. The world of thought is peopled with those whom we have loved and lost in early youth, with images of loved ones far away, and with the heroes and martyrs of our country's history. Great men and women of the ages past throng round us at our will within the sacred borders of the world of thought, and leave us at our will in solitude and silence, undisturbed. Under the rays of the searchlight of its truth, we bring the great and small events of life, there to dissect their values, true and false, and to learn discrimination between the permanent and fleeting things of life. We scrutinize the motives which underlie our actions, and we test the quality of our aspirations in the world of thought. And the outcome of our deepest thought is action in the world of men. The fruit of our reflections manifests itself in deeds of love or hate, in building up or breaking down, in service or persecution of our fellow men. Withdraw into that inner sanctuary and let the still small voice be heard. Let heroes speak. Then make your choice.